All right, what's up, college baseball fans? Welcome to another episode of the 11.7 podcast, weekend number 7 recap episode. The brooms were out. Spring cleaning all weekend. 7 SEC sweeps. I think there were 4 or 5 ACC. It felt like there was dozens of statement sweeps across the country. Moving into weekend number 8. So we're going to dive into all the action. I have a whole notebook full of moments from this weekend we need to talk about, both on the mid-major side of things and in the Power 4. And then towards the end of the episode, we will talk about Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon baseball making the news, firing, I don't know longtime head coach is the right word, but Gregg Wallis. I think he's been there for about,
3 or 4 years in replacement of Andy Stankiewicz, who
it was only 3 or 4 years.
July 8th, 2022, he officially became the head coach of Grand Canyon.
Okay. Well, I mean, anyways, the point was that another mid-season firing, third time in the last 12 months in college baseball.
Second time in mid-major.
Yeah, second time in mid-major. So, wait, who was the other one?
Rice.
Oh, okay. You're right. Anyways, but yeah, we're going to talk about that firing. I have a list of candidates that I think will be very interested in that job. In fact, I put it in the 11.7 group chat. I think there's going to be some Power 4 coaches, like head coaches, that are interested in that job because it might just be me, but Grand Canyon is a top 40 job in the country. To have the facilities, have the backing, the fan base, it's better than
Arizona. You're in Arizona.
Right. It is a perfect place to build, kind of like if you want to build a West Coast, Coastal Carolina or Southern Miss style, you have the resources there at Grand Canyon. So that'll be at the end of the episode. But really what I wanted
Ben and I sent some lists of names there. So, we're both loaded and ready to fire.
Both prepped and ready to go. A little bit of other housekeeping stuff. This weekend number 8, most of the series start on Thursday. So the weekend series pick 'em. Make sure you get your picks in for Thursday. Most series are Thursday, Friday, Saturday because of Easter Sunday. And we'll have a podcast out Wednesday night previewing the weekend. And then we'll probably record Monday, the day after Easter. Things could change, but that's the plan right now. So before we get into all these SEC series sweeps and everything, congratulations to the sport of college baseball. Sunday night baseball at ESPN2. We're recording right now in the 9th inning of West Virginia at Arizona State. It was the perfect place, I think, to do a Sunday night baseball because of, you get the West Virginia has a huge fan base and they're fun. And then you get the old, blue blood style Arizona State showcase the field. And it was a rubber match for 2 of the top Big 12 teams in the country. And it didn't disappoint other than some base running miscues and stuff.
Oh my gosh, the base running in the game was...
Base running was terrible, but then we get a steal of home. And Dimitri just said 10 minutes ago, he's like, dude, West Virginia steals home once a month. This is crazy. How is it not in the scouting report?
Yeah, how do you fall asleep to this?
Yeah, but it's been fun baseball. Friday night's game in that series was crazy. That was a Landon Hairston game. Grand slam, 8 RBIs, diving catch to win the game. He leads off tonight's game on ESPN2. Leadoff Baum, 430 feet. He's up there in the thick of things for Golden Spikes candidates. He's putting together a hell of a sophomore year. We still get one more year of him too, which is exciting. So
yep, he is a 2027 draft eligible player.
Yeah, I tweeted it out. It feels like the Berlin Wall of the air quote travel curfew is falling when you've got a East Coast, Atlantic Coast, West Virginia team on the West Coast playing at Arizona State at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then you're probably landing at 3 or 4 a.m. Eastern if you are flying back tonight.
No. Hold on.
midweek at Arizona, which is weird.
Yeah.
Well, midweek, but
They're staying out there.
In principle, I do think that a lot of teams are going to look at this and say, "Hey, we're willing to bite that bullet to get our program on national television."
1,000%.
The exposure, the spotlight of this game, West Virginia, if they hold on and win this thing, like, I think that's unmatched right now.
They're about to blow it open.
You only have 3 or 4 national spotlight games like this a year on a Sunday night. Sunday night's actually unheard of. It's more Friday or Saturday night where it's on ESPN or ESPN2.
I think Sunday night is more of a primetime spot. Friday night, people are busy. Sunday night, people are getting home. They're showering. They're cleaning up their houses. They're getting ready for the week. That's when they would sit down or have a game on the TV in their house while they're getting ready for the new week. So, yeah, I think this game, I'm going to be curious to see. Do you guys think it breaks 1 million, 2 million, 1 million?
I have nothing to go off of.
I think 1 million is a tough number to break for a single one-off game like this.
What are games? What are games in like the super regionals getting?
The supers,
I don't know. Here,
last year
I'll give you
1.2.
The WBC USA Venezuela was 10 million.
It ain't getting anything close to that. I would say.
I mean, it's not. I don't think it's breaking 2. I don't think it breaks 1.
We're talking about a former power in the sport and a team that's gone to back-to-back supers, but is not necessarily the biggest baseball, brand name, right? I'd say 750K viewership on this game is. I think anything higher, you're loving that with this specific matchup.
With very little
marketing
hype behind it.
You're going up against the NCAA tournament and March Madness, the Elite Eight. You had 4 tickets punched on the men's side. You had 4 tickets punched on the women's side, and then Frozen 4 tonight too with NCAA hockey. You had 4 tickets punched too.
And it's a one-off game. It's not like they broadcasted the series all weekend. And people are like, oh, I saw this game. I want to watch the finale. I want to watch the rubber match. It's just a one-off game. So 750K would be impressive.
I wish ESPN posted like the ESPN Plus numbers for some of these games. That this reminds me of a genius idea that ESPN Plus needs to do. Like there needs to be a live viewership number next to each game, because I caught myself watching Brown versus Princeton Saturday at, I think it might have been 11 Eastern or 12 Eastern, and it was the only game playing on ESPN Plus, college baseball. And by the way, like Brown's pitcher that game had 15 punch outs in 7 innings, like absolutely shoved, but it was the only option of a live game. And I was like, man, I wonder how many people are sitting here watching Brown versus Princeton right now.
I bet it was 750 people.
I bet it was less than that.
500, maybe.
The nice little live stream YouTube feature that lets you know how many people you're watching the game alongside.
Yeah, like they need to do something like that, or publish, like at the end of the day, how many people watch this game, right? Like I'm so interested in that stuff.
I've always wondered if our tweet, like if we tweet something about a game, how many people immediately go to watch the game, the end of it, the finish of it, or whatever.
I don't know. There's your $1 million ESPN.
That would be cool.
So, and then also another thought that just came into my head. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but there was during that Brown versus Princeton game, there were commercial breaks with no commercials, and I was like, dude, I wonder how much it would cost for like an 11.7 commercial to be thrown up there. Just get a diehard pipeline of Brown and Princeton parents come and watch our pod.
That would be funny.
Yeah. I think you're also just you're targeting the audience that's probably already tuned into the pod.
Right. Yeah.
Hey Noah, are you going to keep up with the timestamps for the show, or do you want me to write them down?
I can do it. I can do the
All right, perfect. I tried to keep. I forgot like 2 episodes. I remembered 1, so perfect. I just wanted to make sure we got that before we started getting into the show.
Nope, we're good.
Yep.
I got it.
Last thing I have before we get into the show, I am wearing my Los Beavs hat in memory of Oregon State sweeping Mercer this weekend. We've lost our friend Los Beavs, by the way, gone this year. not on Twitter. So
maybe life got to him. Maybe he has a girlfriend or something.
Maybe, but
Dimitri.
Dimitri, I need you to admit Mercer's not bad. You were hurting
I need you to digest this number real quick.
Whatever number you have, I'm going to bury you with more numbers. So go for it.
Mercer is currently being outscored 51-8 to 12, 51-12 in 4 games against teams with a winning record.
Congratulations, you threw a midweek when Florida State scored 40.
51-12 in 4 games against teams with a winning record this season, and they're 0-4.
Mercer's had 2 bad innings. They had a 13-run inning and a 9-run inning.
Okay, and Mercer's also played 4 total games out of 28 against teams with a winning record, Ben.
Well, some of them would have a winning record if they didn't run into Mercer getting swept.
All right, well, they went 2-1 against Troy. You take that away, Troy would be 11-14. Take away the win against Georgia State, 13-15. Take away the 3 against Columbia, 5-11. Take away the 2 Florida A&M, 12-12. My bad, 12-12. Take away Penn, they're 7-11. Take away Florida State, 20-6. Oh, dude, take away Alcorn, 2-19. Whoa. Take away Tennessee Tech, 9-16. Actually, they lost one, so that'd be 8-17. Take away Citadel, 11-12. I mean, what are we doing here? It's one of the worst schedules in the country.
That's really cute numbers you bring up. But who hit 2 homers against Dax Whitney and had a lead in the 7th inning on Friday night in Corvallis? Mercer. Who blew the game in the 8th inning against Oregon State? Mercer. Who was in the game for?
Who wasted 2 of their starting pitchers in that game?
No, I can't believe this guy. I can't believe this guy is pointing out moments of games that they lost. They got swept, and he's pointing out moments.
These are good teams, though. Oregon State and Florida State. They're in it, dude. They were in every game. In fact,
wait, you're considering 22-4 in it? You're considering 22-4 in it?
9.
And you know, college baseball is a 9-inning game, right?
9-13.
22-4 is in it, Noah. I can't believe that. We just heard that live. Heard that live.
Mercer was in it for 22 of the 27 innings this weekend. They had the bullpen was bad. All right. A 6-run inning, an 8-run inning, and a 3-run inning in the bottom of the 8th to blow the game. So look, I'm not saying Mercer is a super regional team I'm not saying anything like that. But they're going to win a game in a regional if they get there. I think they're good.
I bet you they don't make a regional unless they punch their ticket in the SoCon tournament.
Yeah, that does scare me a little bit. They're going to win the 4 days in freaking Greenville, South Carolina, where the wind blows straight out, and they play at Fenway Park, and there's a bajillion homers hit. It's an impossible tournament to win.
I don't think they have the pitching depth to do it.
But who in the SoCon does? Nobody does.
Yeah, that is true.
Mercer
somebody's going to step up that weekend.
You just got to have hot sticks.
Yeah, it's all about scoring runs in Greenville. Anyways, I'm glad we got that off my chest.
I'm glad you got that out of the way.
Ask Oregon State fans. They respected, and I even got a few tweets being like, hey, that was a good weekend series.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to say that. They got 3 wins.
Dude,
no, they respect.
They swept, including a 19-2 win. What do you want them to say, Ben?
The 19-2 win is such a fluke win.
It's not like they just went through a civil war against UC Santa Barbara. They were at 3-1, 2-run game.
What do you mean? It was over in the 4th inning of that game.
They were throwing the kids' girlfriends in the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
So what does that tell you? Mercer lost all 3 games and still didn't have enough pitching to keep a game close.
It was 3rd and 57, and they punted. All right, you can punt on 3rd down every once in a while.
I don't know what you want from me. I am as objective as they come when it comes to Mercer. I am extremely objective. I want them to do well, but I'm not going to sit here and cheer them on and leave group messages when they get their ass beat.
No, you were being a bully to me. That's why I left the group message.
I don't know what you want from me. You left the group message like a crybaby.
Noah, you're not out of this either. You were being
in the wise words of Texas Tech, you threw a hissy fit.
That was great too. That's a good callback.
I just got my
but
heart ripped out on the bottom
in the
of
group
eighth.
chat, I was doing exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm sitting back with my popcorn, but if I feel the need to like add a jab, I will, and I'll support your side if you make a good point too. But
Mercer takes
I think this is a
5-3
one-sided argument.
Mercer takes a 5-3 lead going into the bottom of the eighth on Dax Whitney's start day.
All right, that's enough time. I'm going to cut you off right there. We are not spending another fucking second talking about Mercer getting swept by Oregon State. Please stop. Please stop.
You started it.
I believe you brought it up. What? I believe Ben. No. I believe Ben brought it up. He was like, I'm going to need you to say that they are not a bad team. And Dimitri's entire thing was like, they're not good.
No way. His feelings are already hurt. He's looking at his phone. He doesn't want to talk anymore. I know him.
I'm trying to find why I left the group message.
Well, you can't because you don't see a bump.
Oh, I left the group message because right when Oregon State took the lead, you put in all caps, "Go Beavs" with like 100 to see that.
That is correct. That is correct.
It just melted to the floor.
Yeah, I can go pull that up now that Ben said word for word.
Do you think Arkansas fans? Hey, do you think Florida fans are like, "Hey, thank you, Arkansas. That was a tough weekend. Thank you for giving up a good fight."
It's different, man. It's different. Anyways, I'm done. Don't even know why I do this freaking podcast. I started it because of Mercer baseball, kind of. Not really.
No, you started because Jared Carrabis said college baseball sucks.
Yeah, I wanted to prove it. Well, and then
that's an awesome callback too.
I got spoiled with a 2019 Mercer regional, and I'm like, dude, 2019 start a college baseball pod. Mercer goes to the regional. We're going to be getting used to this every year, and they haven't been back since. Careful, Noah.
Yeah, I'm throwing myself on Do Not Disturb before we get notifications. But who do you think you are? I am.
That was when Mercer
Go ahead, 2-run bomb in the 7th. I can't rewind, says Dimitri, so he can't clip it. Jack goes boom. Tweet it from the Mercer account when they tweet it out. And then Dimitri with all caps. Go Beavs. Bentley.
All right, that's enough. Getting flashed. I'm sweating right now thinking about.
You're so stressed out about their participation trophy.
Shit.
No, I'm stressed out because you.
I stress a lot of people out.
You make me mad. Should be bleeding orange.
So, anyways, let's move on. Ben, what do you have on your list?
Well, we had 7 SEC series sweeps, which, I don't know if I remember that ever happening. It's a very, very balanced league for the most part. We always say, don't get swept when your road or when your home game or when your home series. Don't get swept on the road. And that's usually what happens in the SEC. Here and there, there's sweeps, but you'll usually see one of the teams catch a game on Saturday or Sunday to win it. But I think the most notable weekend series in the SEC was, well, first of all, we got to talk about Vanderbilt. 3 walk-off wins against Tennessee. Absolutely smushed them in the 9th inning today.
Nobody took a bigger loss this weekend than Tennessee. Because they lost on 3 walk-offs, and then one of their other series losses this year, Kent State, lost the weekend series as well. So,
yeah, things are not good in Knoxville right now. It was inexcusable what happened today. They had a 5-run lead going into the bottom of the 9th, and just the wheels fell off. Credit to Vanderbilt, though. They could have folded right there and just been happy with a 2 out of 3 weekend series win. But the boys fought, walk-off homer. Now they're celebrating. Now they're feeling good. That was Vanderbilt's 2nd sweep this year in conference play. They opened SEC play and they swept who? Remind me.
No, they only took 2 of 3 against LSU that weekend.
Oh, you're right. Okay. I thought, never mind. But what you guys have any thoughts other than that? Because if not, we can bounce around.
I thought that if Vandy, here, I'll phrase it this way. Tennessee moving Coons out of the weekend rotation surprised me a little bit, but I still thought that they would have the pitching depth advantage as this series went along, and that just didn't end up proving true. You saw in that first game, both teams burned their best arms. Fennel threw until his arm fell off in that game because they basically needed him to. Vandy's got like 4 arms hurt right now, and then Tennessee uses Arvidsson for 5 and Coons for 4.1. Those are 2 of their best arms done for the series. I thought immediately, yes, the Tennessee used those 2 guys, but they would benefit long term.
They had a fresh bullpen going into Saturday, Sunday.
Correct. Yeah. So for them to kind of blow that lead in the third game, I think is huge. The fact that they couldn't hold on there. I thought also just the perseverance of Vanderbilt's offense, which has been questioned in the last couple of weeks, them coming up with clutch hit after clutch hit, and a lot of them coming up with bombs in the big moment. I thought that was huge out of Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I feel terrible for Tennessee. I feel terrible for Elander because you felt like he had the balls to take Tegan Kuhn out of the rotation, and I think that takes balls and that takes courage from a head coach, because if it works out, people are like, "Oh, cool." If it doesn't work out, they're like, "What the hell is he doing? He's in over his heels. He doesn't know what he's going on. The moment is too big for him." It's just a lose-lose situation for him, and he had the balls to do it. And you know what? It paid off for 8.2 innings or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
Coons was
I
great in
respect him
relief.
for that. I respect him for that. Just the matchups in the 9th inning, he kind of struggled with. And I think that's a learning curve. A head coach, knowing when to get a guy out, knowing when to take the advice of your pitching coach, and knowing when to make the move yourself, because that's how it works in a dugout. A head coach uses the advice of his pitching coach most of the time, depending on the dynamic. Some pitching coaches have full reign. Like I think Anderson had full range with Vitello, but Vitello obviously ultimately made the final call. Elander, I don't know the dynamic. So it's interesting to see that, but your job is your job. And if you feel like you need to make a move, you got to make a move. You got to do it. And ride and die with your gut feeling.
I'm going to this too, and so they used 4.2 innings of bullpen in game 1. They allowed 1 earned run.
Gentlemen, I'll be right back.
You're good. Go ahead and clip that final of Dub V in Arizona State. Ben, their bullpen was good in games 1 and game 2. So game 1, they had 4.2, 1 earned run from Coons, and then the game-winning run. And then game 2, Appenzeller gives them 6 innings, scoreless, just 4 hits. Bo Rudy goes out there and gives them 3 innings, scoreless. And they just couldn't capitalize at the plate and score a run in extras.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of those games where I was watching probably back and forth the first 6 or 7 innings, and Tennessee tied it in the 6th or 7th with a 5 spot. Vanderbilt put a 5 spot up in the 3rd or 4th, and then Tennessee scores 5 to tie it up. And then I had to go somewhere, so I wasn't near my TV. And I checked back 2 hours later, and it's popping up bottom of the 15th. And I'm like, what the heck? This game is still 5-5 in the 15th inning. And I thought Warren Nolan was glitching out. So I checked Twitter and all this stuff. Of course, they're in the 15th inning. And it was such a weird series to me, especially with Sunday's game being very high scoring and offenses looked incredible. I don't know if it says more about both of these teams pitching depth or if the offenses were just awake today. I don't know, but the series made very little sense to me that it was so low scoring Friday, and then Saturday there's only 2 innings that were actually scored in. The rest were zeros, and then today it was beach ball mania.
Yeah, Dimitri. So the first 13.2 innings of bullpen from Tennessee allowed just 2 runs. Coons gave up 1 and the walk-off run in game 1. But then, I mean, just their offense didn't capitalize with a clutch hit. in extra innings. And then the offense has exploded in game 3.
There was a
Vanderbilt
big
had
moment.
everything to match in the
There was a
ninth.
big moment in the Saturday game. Elander in Tennessee tried to go for like a safety squeeze, and it didn't work. They didn't catch the run in. Very next bottom half of the inning, Vanderbilt went full blown suicide squeeze. Won the game.
Yep.
It was one team was able to do it, the other team wasn't. I'll be right back though.
No, you're good.
I
was wrong for the podcast listeners on the first time. I'm like a half minute behind Dimitri. It was a home run from Arizona State that he went and clipped first off. So go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, we get home run ninth. No, but right now, like Tennessee, I don't want to say they're in jeopardy of missing the tournament completely, but their schedule coming up is not easy. So you can't be losing 5-6 SEC weekend series. They're going to have to mix in a win. Big weekend coming up against LSU, who finally feels like, at least Saturday, Sunday, LSU wins both games against Kentucky after dropping Friday night. But it feels like a must-win series for both of those teams, just to get the train back on the tracks.
We're only through 3 SEC weekends. You see the total of wins now in the SEC that you only really need to tally 13, and they'll make a huge argument for you and get you in without even being in the last 4 in, right, Ben? But with satire aside, I mean, 43rd in RPI, it's still a little early to look at it, but we're halfway through the season now. We're a month and a half in with 2 months to go. And non-conference didn't really help you at all. You scheduled well, but you didn't win enough of those games. You've got to do damage in the SEC.
Lost the series to Kent State and lost a game to Wright State on the weekend. Tennessee's not looking like they're in a great position to even make the NCAA tournament.
Oh, I got to get Banana Ball off my screen.
Get that off of your screen. The next series I want to talk about, just because it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Texas, 2 gutsy performances Friday, Saturday. So Game 2 and Game 3 of the weekend series. They win in extra innings. I was impressed with Oklahoma. I think they can hang in there with anybody in the country. They just missed so many opportunities offensively. And credit to Texas's pitching staff. Texas, the bullpen, we had some question marks about. They looked better than most teams, I guess is a good way to say it. Better than most teams' bullpens, especially Saturday. But it could have been easily with a couple swings of the bat. Oklahoma could have went into Austin and won that series, but credit to the Longhorns.
Yeah, I think the easy way to put this one, or at least this series, is like right off the bat, Texas was in front of the 8 ball with a blowout on Thursday. They were able to save a lot of their pen, and you don't fall behind with your bullpen. You don't have to get into the depths of it. I mean, they only used in games 2 and 3 bullpen arms. Cozart goes out there and gives them 3 scoreless, 3 strikeouts. And then you got Brett Crosland, who gives them 2.1 scoreless, and then Hayden LeFew, 2 innings scoreless baseball. The entire bullpen in game 2 and game 3 didn't give up a single run, and I think Oklahoma, they shut out Oklahoma in game 1. So their bullpen didn't give up a single run this entire weekend.
Oklahoma didn't score in the 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th, both in game 2 and in game 3 of the series. They score 1, they win those games.
Yeah, I do think the story of the weekend, though, was just, at least in this one, and I don't mean this in a participation trophy award type narrative, but Oklahoma desperately needs Cam Johnson to refine that form, and I think he did. He looked good on Friday, and it was weird because LJ, who's typically thrown game 2s for him a lot this year, mostly on Saturday, jumps Cameron Johnson to go to Thursday. LJ takes it on the chin. Dimitri on the short rest. Is that something we don't have to worry about moving forward? You think that was just short rest up against Texas, who's a very good team? He moves back to Saturday, and he'll continue to deal moving forward.
I mean, Mercurius' last 3 starts: 5 innings, 6 runs, 4 earned against A&M, 5 1/3, 2 runs against LSU, 2 innings, 7 runs. But he has 7 walks in his last 3 starts. So I think he's in a little funk at the moment. I don't his numbers are going to be good enough, so that means he's going to regress towards the mean more and be more who he is. But his first 3 SEC starts are not the greatest. 5 1/3 at LSU, 2 runs is a good start. But overall, he needs to be better. If Oklahoma wants to win a lot of these SEC series, he's got to be better.
And I thought it was really good stuff from Oklahoma to show some fight in game 3, and that was the most vulnerable we've seen Valanis as a starting pitcher all year.
Oh yeah. They got to him.
Mm-hmm.
So
we got to move on here because we got a ton of other things to talk about. We
barely jumped into the SEC first, and that's like
I know
we've got all these sweeps in the SEC.
Like
it's like, oh.
I think the loudest statement of the weekend was Alabama's weekend sweep against Auburn. And we previewed it a little bit last week, but we were like, hey, this could be a series that could ignite Alabama baseball to becoming a sold-out crowd every game, students wanting to be there, fans traveling all across the Birmingham area or wherever they are in Alabama to get to Tuscaloosa on the weekends. And they started out with a bang, a 8-inning run rule win against Auburn Friday night, and then 2 close wins Saturday, Sunday, where they scored late. Like Alabama walk-off – was it walk-off Saturday and then 2 runs today in the bottom half of the 7th or 8th or 9th? I think it was a walk-off Saturday.
Walk-off Saturday.
And then they scored 2 in the bottom of the 8th today.
Yeah, it was a 1-1 tie.
Yep.
Yeah, for the most part, Dimitri, I'll defer to you on some of the highlight moments because you were on the board the entire week.
Wait, what do you want me to talk about?
No, like he was asking you, was Saturday a walk-off?
Saturday was a walk-off.
Saturday was a walk-off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
A run rule Friday, walk-off Saturday, and then a 1-1 game in the 8th inning today.
Yeah, it was a pass ball that gave him the go-ahead run for Bama, right, where LeBron scored.
Yep.
That's 6 straight.
Tyler Fay went 5 innings, 1 hit. He's given up 1 hit in his last 14 innings pitched. When you have a guy like that, it makes life a lot easier in any conference. In any
Adams on Saturday has been great for him this year.
Yep. I think this weekend was more. It's tough to say. Like Auburn coming out that series loss, which was an emotional, packed out crowd, all that stuff last weekend against Texas. They came up short. This weekend, now you go on the road to your rival Alabama. I feel like it was just a very difficult weekend for Auburn. Alabama just capitalized on the moment, swept the Florida team a weekend ago that just went back-to-back on the road again and swept Arkansas on the road. So I think at this point, you've got to put your stamp on Alabama and say this is a legit team.
You know what's funny is I think all 3 of us made fun of Jack in the conference champion pick'em we did in week 2 or 3 or whenever it was. But Jack was like, no, I'm picking Alabama. And we're like, are you sure? To win the SEC. And I'm not saying they're going to win the SEC, but they're right there in the thick of things right now.
Yeah. 1 game back of Texas and Mississippi State and Georgia.
Yeah, Alabama. So, Alabama is now – they're going at Oklahoma and then hosting Arkansas, at Texas, at Tennessee, Vanderbilt, at South Carolina, Ole Miss at home.
I don't know if you're winning the SEC with that kind of schedule. That's tough.
And that was a huge weekend for Bryce Fowler, who sets the table at the top of that Alabama lineup. He went 2 for 4, 3 for 5. So it's
shout out to the right field Rager.
Yeah,
shout out to the right field Ragers at Thomas Sewell Stadium. They had beers ready for the guys. They came running out there, jumped over the fence. Guys were throwing back whatever leftover room temperature beer they had left out there. So that was awesome. Yeah, that was really fun to watch.
Fowler was a JUCO stud. I forget where he went immediately as a freshman. Kind of took, some lumps as a freshman, transferred to JUCO. Broke out in junior college at Pearl River. He came back last year, And he was a good on base guy for Alabama. Had a 381 OBP, but only hit 267. This weekend, he goes 5 for 11 with a couple of walks in game 3 that were huge. And then on the season right now, he's batting 356 with 1,000 plus OPS. I mean, that out of your leadoff spot, that's all you could ask for. He's having a really good start to the season.
Nice. Let's pivot over to the team that Alabama woke up, and especially woke up a head coach, and that's the Florida Gators. A week ago today, we were all like, dude, Florida is in the dumpster right now. Like, they look miserable, not motivated. After Alabama swept them, Florida goes, hey, we're going to go beat Florida State in a midweek, and then we're going to go sweep Arkansas in Fayetteville. Unbelievable turnaround for the Gators.
And I remember making a comment like we were dogging the Gators. We were just dogging on them. They're down. They're out for the count. And I go, you guys got to remember, this is a team with 2 first-round picks in their weekend rotation.
Yeah. That helps.
Yeah.
So their bullpen went 13 in the third, 13.2 innings, 3 walks this weekend. I think they had 3 walks in like the 8th inning with 1 out alone last weekend against Alabama.
The emerging star for Florida is Joshua Reitnauer. Like, that kid looks like he's got the goods in the back end of that pen. What do you give him? So I'm looking at the box score right now. 3.1 with 5 strikeouts in the weekend and 2 saves. How about the line from Liam Peterson on Friday? I think Dimitri just sent it like 7 Ks, 6 walks, 4 innings.
Dude, he went 7 innings. I think it was 6 or 7 innings. 1 run, no runs, 6 walks, 7 Ks. Like, what is that?
No, he went 4. He only went 4.
Is that a testament that Liam Peterson is that good and he can just pitch out of his own mess, or is that Arkansas not being able to capitalize on anything?
I think it's Arkansas not, hitting
let's
the contact.
Let's not forget. I don't know if I said this publicly on the pod or if I put it in a group message, but like, Arkansas came into the weekend ranked what? Fourth. Unanimously? Yeah. Like, with every ranking out there in college baseball, all 26 of the rankings, the Hogs come in at 4th. And I know I put it in one of the group messages. It could have been the fantasy league, Noah, college baseball fantasy league group message.
It's firing off every weekend, man.
But I was like, how is this Arkansas team ranked 4th? Like, I know they have the series win over Mississippi State, but like, let's not forget, they lose a Friday night to UT Arlington. They split a series at home against Stetson. They should have lost the series against South Carolina if it wasn't for a throwing error from the shortstop on South Carolina. They would have lost that series. And then they get swept here against Florida, and it's like, when have the Hogs ever shown that they were a top 5 team in the country?
I think it was for those 3 days against Mississippi State. That's the only thing that shows how good this team is.
Like, they won an extra innings, so they lost. So opening the year, lost to TCU on Saturday, win extra innings against Texas Tech. They battled hard the first 2 games against Xavier in that weekend series. They lose a midweek to Arkansas State, and then the next they lose 12-4, and then they win 1-0 on the next midweek Wednesday against Arkansas State. They lose the Friday against UT Arlington. They split the series, the 4-game series against Stetson. Like, I know they won the Mississippi State series, which I guess is what they're feathering their cap. But other than that, like, Northern Colorado for 2 midweek games, like, they should have lost at South Carolina, and they got swept this weekend against Florida. Now they have at Missouri State, at Auburn coming up, Little Rock at home, at Alabama. Like, dude, I'm worried about Arkansas.
And listen to this nugget here. The starting pitching for Arkansas this weekend in 3 games gave them 7.2 innings. They gave up 9 runs, which is a 10.66 ERA against Florida. And then the bullpen was quite scattered this weekend as well. It looks like Dave Van Horn in game 1, like, pulled the plug on Gackle early, 46 pitches, 3-0 game. He's like, hey, I'm going to Gibbler. He's the number 1 out of the pen. Let's try to put a stop to this Florida run and see if we can work our way back into game 1 here. what he ended up doing is burning his ace out of the pen for 86 pitches in Gibbler. And then the rest of the weekend, Steele Eves for 1, Mark Brissy for 1.1, Tate McGuire for 0.2, Eves go back for 1, Cooper Dossett for 1.1, Kircher gets 2 outs, Ty Briscoe doesn't get out and out, James DeCramer gets 1 inning, Parker Coyle 1 inning, Tate McGuire 2.1, Ethan McElvain 2.1, Brissy 1 inning, Coyle 1 inning. Like, they were just behind the 8 ball for the rest of the weekend after they used up Gibbler. Like, they got a lot of things to figure out on the pitching side, I think, right now.
Yeah, it was just weird for me to see a number 4 next to Arkansas's name this weekend, I guess was my biggest point. I think there's several teams with way better resumes than Arkansas at this point right now. But yeah, I'm curious to see how far they drop in the rankings. Not that rankings matter, but it just kind of feel like they were gifted a top 5 ranking. I loved Florida in this bounce back week. I don't know.
Massive. I think that this weekend says more about Florida. A team that gets swept on the road and then has to go back on the road against a team that is arguably on paper better, and then they sweep them, tells me a lot about this Florida team. So I like where Sully and them had the boys at.
And I mean, this is an Arkansas program that went something like 30-4 at home last year, and right now they're 14-8 at home.
Hey, you want a little stat nugget, Noah? I know you'll like this one. Yeah, Arkansas in 26 years of the Dave Van Horn era have been swept at home 7 total times. 2 of them are by Florida.
That's a crazy stat.
That's pretty good.
All right, last series we're gonna I guess cover, quote unquote, because I mean Texas A&M sweeps whoever they played, Missouri, and then somebody swept South Carolina. Who was it? Georgia swept South Carolina, like whatever. Mississippi State, Ole Miss. I was expecting a little more fight out of Ole Miss, even though like the games weren't necessarily blowouts. But Ole Miss's offense was horrendous this weekend. Maybe it was the Mississippi State pitching staff that held them in check. And like this is a team playing really good baseball right now. Mississippi State, one of the hotter teams in the nation. Let's see, they're on a 8-game winning streak, and that includes a midweek over Southern Miss where they dominated them 12-0. They swept Vanderbilt last week. Maybe Ole Miss just caught Mississippi State at the wrong time.
I think.
But, dude, to score 6 runs at home, like that's not good from Ole Miss. They had they had beer showers in the first 5 minutes of the series, and then they scored 2 runs since. It was awful.
Yeah. Hey, keep this in mind. Mississippi State has 4 total losses on the year. They lost by 1 to UCLA, lost by 1 to Southern Miss, lost by 1 to Arkansas, lost by 4 to Arkansas, all on the road or neutral site.
And they showed late fight in all of them. That's I think the most impressive thing from this Mississippi State team is they've had clutch hitting in their losses. This team hasn't fallen short offensively at all. My question, I faded Mississippi State as they hit the road against their biggest rival in year 1 for Coach O'Connor in this rivalry, doubting that the pitching staff would be healthy enough later on in the series. Pitching just controlled this game script in all 3 games for Mississippi State. They set the tone with the starting pitching. Duke Stone in game 3, Valencius in game 2 were very steady in the absence of McPherson on Friday. Charlie Foster gave him 4.2, with that early home run, shook it, and then they got to work. Really, it was Ben Davis, their reliable reliever, that got rocked in game 1, but he came back. I think it was in game 3, and he gave him 2.1 scoreless. So good perseverance from him throughout the weekend to go out there and give him, another good day of ball. But overall, I thought Mississippi State answered even more questions for me that I had this weekend. Good to see Ole Miss get Cade Townsend back out there. He was battling a couple injuries early on this season. Goes 4 innings, kind of got, babbipped a little bit there. A couple unearned runs, but he had 8 strikeouts, no walks. I think that's really promising to see for Ole Miss there because, I mean, he was good at the end of last year. So I think that's your biggest positive takeaway for Ole Miss.
Yeah, well, this series also solidified for me that there are 4 teams that I think there's a top 4 teams in the country, and then there's a pretty big gap between 5 and 25 in the rankings.
Wait, so who? I mean, it's UCLA, Mississippi State, and we're including Texas in that, right?
Yeah.
Who's 4
Georgia
for you?
Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the Final Four, Noah, right? In the college basketball tournament. Like right now, UCLA, Texas, Mississippi State, Georgia Tech. Those are the 4 teams that I think have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. And then this is college baseball, so like anybody can beat anybody. And I'm not saying these are the 4 teams that are going to end up in the semifinals of Omaha, but because I do think there's still a ton of parity. But on a consistent basis from week 0 through week 7, those are the 4 teams I trust the most, and it's not even close.
If USC messes around this weekend against UCLA and they get a game and they fight in games 2 or 3 or whatever, however that series works out, if they hold their own, I'm throwing them very close to that mix too.
I mean, if you're going to do that, then you could argue pre-Myles Bailey injury, Florida State belongs in that category too. But
that was ugly this weekend.
They did lose a weekend in Globe Life, which but yeah, I think Florida State pre-injury, could they have a 1-2 punch just as good as anybody in the country, which is extremely important. So
yeah.
That
was a tough one.
Bailey, just I kind of off topic, but
I forgot to bring this up. The reason why I'm starting to talk about rankings right now, I just mentioned it with Arkansas, and I brought it back up here with the top 4. The reason why I brought up rankings is because if you go back, week 8 is kind of a telling point on like what you should expect for the College World Series. After going into the week 8 rankings, last year 7 of the 8 teams were in the top 25. In 2020,
D1 baseball's top 25 we're using here.
This is I think this is the coaches poll. What did they have on Warren, Noah?
Okay, I was curious.
Coaches poll. 7 of the 8 teams in Omaha were ranked at the week 8 top 25. So 7 were in the top 25. The only one that wasn't was Murray State. Like, who's going to predict that? And then in 2024, all 8 of them were in the top 25.
Wow. Okay.
2023, 6 of them were in the top 25. Oral Roberts received votes in the Oral Roberts and TCU were both receiving votes in the coaches poll. I think they were ranked like 32nd and 41st or something. So like they were right there. Okay. But really just like going off the last 2 years, 15 of the 16 teams that reached Omaha were ranked inside the coaches poll top 25 for week 8. And like I would feel very confident that at least 7 going into this week's ranking.
So what you're saying is I should go buy futures on all 25 teams. And if I hit 7 of them, I'm going to be profitable.
No, he's not saying that. What he is saying, though, is these grad assistants no ball.
You got to explain that one to me.
Like the student managers are filling out those polls.
Oh, yeah. So I was about to ask you. So it's not the actual coaches filling out these polls, you don't think?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they have some say.
Like, dude, knowing some of these head coaches, they're such control freaks and like maniacs that like I guarantee
doing it. They get that email. They walk into their office Monday morning at 7 a.m., have their coffee, they sit down, and they write out the top 25.
I said it mainly in jest, but I guarantee you that there's probably 5 of the.
Oh, I have not. I do not disagree. I bet you quite a few of them are delegating that off busy work to somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, or they just like, let's give these guys the rat poison this week. Vote these guys in the top 5.
Yeah,
a lot of gamesmanship there.
Then what's next?
ACC, because I think we started with the SEC because I wanted to hit on like some of these sweeps, but the ACC I thought was a more exciting weekend, especially with the Boston College. I want to give them the proper time because it feels good to see the old Wofford staff up there, who I hated playing against. I respect him, Todd Interdonato and those guys. They have
That's
built
the biggest compliment you can get from Ben, though. It really is.
Yeah, like I hated playing against him because, dude, we would have to do so many bunt coverages and pickoffs and like delayed steals. Like we would have to practice everything in the books against Wofford back then. And I'm not saying he's doing exactly that at Boston College, but there is a good spice into it. Maybe they're not running the triple option, but they're running the RPOs or something. I don't know, but they're getting creative up there in Boston. Big series win against Virginia, including just a 17-0 smacking of them. That's good to see because for a while Boston College was a basement dweller for a long time.
Whoa! Put some respect on Birdball. On the South Fralick, Boston College regional or super regional team.
Did they make a super?
It might have just been a regional. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I think
Gambino had him as a 2-seed fringe host. They went down to Alabama and ended up losing in the regional final that year.
Maybe. Well, Boston College took a series at Auburn the year they made a regional. I'm pretty sure in 2021, maybe.
So Boston College made a regional in 2023. That was the one Noah was just referencing. And then 2016, 2009, and then before 2009. No.
So South Fralick never took him to a regional.
No, that's why I didn't think so. I think he was there like 2021, 22 maybe. I don't know. But 1967 was before 2009. They made a super in 2016, Dimitri. They played Miami.
Yeah, I know. And Michelangelo hit a walk-off bomb to send their asses home. Michelangelo. Eddie Michelangelo. Oh, no, what was his name? Walk-off bomb, Monday winner-take-all game, sent their asses home. And then benches cleared. Do you guys not remember this?
I do remember that video now. Benches clearing.
And he pimped the shit out of it. Took his happy ass time around the bases, and benches cleared after while they were packing their bags going home.
Yep. But yeah, so good weekend there. But I do want to segue directly into Miami because
huge game 1 and 2, by the way, for Kyle Wolf. What did he blast? 2 bombs, went 3 for 5 with a couple of walks. I mean, when you score 17 runs as a team, there's bound to be somebody that has a huge weekend. And it was Kyle Wolf down in the order doing some big time damage for BC this weekend. So shout out to the Eagles.
Hey, they were close to a sweep too. It was they had a 1-0 lead in the 8th inning of today's game.
And Dimitri, go ahead and shout out your boy, Cesar Gonzalez. We'll talk about this as a broader conversation topic later on in the show, but the Venezuelan getting the 3 innings save there in game 1.
Yeah, he ran out of gas. Kind of was it game 1 or game 2? I think it was game 2. He ran into some trouble, and then he ended up winning it in the 9th.
Game 1, yeah. He gave up 2 runs in the 9th, but got it done.
Oh, yeah. Game 2 was the one they blew him out. Yep. All right, Ben. What about Miami?
Yeah, big series win on the road at Clemson. Clemson's got a ton of question marks right now.
A ton.
And
I feel so stupid in the preseason saying, "Oh, the TikTok and banana ball and all this stuff it's gonna really prepare them for this season." This is like an Omaha team. I really like what Back is doing. Man, that shit looks so bad. It was a bad take.
And it looks even worse because Backage is rocking a mustache right now, and it's like I know he's probably raising it for awareness. I think
it's ALS with East Carolina.
Yeah, that's ALS. But like to be 2-7 in the ACC when you're picked as one of the favorites to win it, and then you have to give press conferences with a mustache is like kind of a tough look.
I am going to say this. I don't love the fact that we're going to go off of preseason rankings for this one because I feel I was right. I'm just saying, I think I got a pretty good pulse on Backage teams. I was high on the 24 team when they were a top 5 seed or whatever in the preseason. I was so high on that group. I was a little cooler on last year's group, and I thought they really overachieved. And this year, I thought out of power ranking his first 4 teams. I thought this was 4th out of 4.
And you know what? You know what?
Clemson.
I really wish I had the time to do. Maybe I have time to do. I just don't want to do it. The way we go through our mid-major rankings and actually break down rosters, who's coming back. If I did that for most of these Power 4 teams, my pulse on a lot of these teams would be so much better. So I'm just trusting. I'm trusting D1 top 25 for some of these other teams because I want to put my time and effort into teams that people don't know much about, which is why we love our mid-major poll. So let me ask you this, Noah. When you bring in a transfer as highly touted as Ty Daly, and some of these other schools hit on a transfer, some miss on a transfer,
yeah,
the guy has struggled. He had 2 home runs this year. He's currently the all-time active home run leader with 60 or 61 or something like that. Yeah. He struggled. And there's a couple other guys on that roster that were portal guys that were supposed to be pretty good. Is this on Bakich for just misevaluating these guys? Like where does the blame get put?
So I think this is a great question. This was definitely a topic that came up this weekend, Ben, in the fantasy group chat of how you should measure preseason expectation versus, hey, where does the evaluation of a coach and or a program and the health of it fall? Because I think it is fair to say that Bakich has overachieved through 3 seasons, no doubt. First year, getting
to a super.
Yeah, I mean, no, it wasn't a super. He hosted, but they had Tennessee come in, which I mean,
they got kind of shafted there.
Yeah, they were a top 5 seed. They host Tennessee. That's a tough draw. Year 2, they get to a super. Great. Year 3, I didn't think it was his best team. They still host. They win 45 games with like a team batting average 260, and their starting rotation completely fell apart due to injuries. It was all Canuck. I thought they overachieved. This year, I didn't think that they were a host on paper. However, if you're looking to knock this group, how do you do it? Well, it's the development. Look specifically on Friday night. I think Canuck has been very steady throughout his career. Freshman, sophomore, junior, hasn't really developed, hasn't added anything there for you. And that goes for a handful of guys. I would have to pull up the text message that I dropped in that group of like the guys that I would single out, but I don't want necessarily do that on the podcast anyway.
Can I pause you real quick? Canuck reminds me of a Ruger Rioja. They were very similar in projectability. Rioja took that next step. Canuck never took that next step. Is that fair to say? It's just kind of giving the fans an idea of what development could look like for a Friday night ace that was already in that role pretty early.
I would say no, because Ruger was a transfer in after 2 years of college.
But Ruger was not what he is today.
I thought he was a closer at.
Well, he was a leverage arm for him.
Yeah. He was a long inning relief guy at UTSA. But see, that's when I look at Canuck. Sorry to cut you off here, but I just wanted to.
No, you're good.
When I look at Canuck, I'm like, man, what if this guy could have tapped into another level of dominance and just pure dominating stuff, and he hasn't gotten there. He seems to be that close, just that close to being a dude, and he just he never got there. He hadn't gotten there.
Yeah, and he gets knocked around when he's on the road. Now this year he's had a couple of rough home starts. This one against Miami.
Would we talk different? Would we talk different about Bakich if what's his name from Tennessee doesn't hit that grand slam?
Yes.
If Florida, I mean Cam Cantarella making that catch saved Clemson's ass for a couple more innings against Florida.
But Florida had a couple of clutch hits in that one too. Like Clemson could have won that super as well. It was
would we be talking differently about Bakich if he did punch his ticket to Omaha?
Undoubtedly. Yeah. I still believe this is one of your better coaches in the country right now.
I think Clemson fans are just tired of being so close for so many years.
I guess I don't have my finger on the pulse of Clemson, right? Are they upset? I don't I don't see that online. a lot.
They're pretty pissed, right? They're pretty pissed because they're talking about how this is year 4. The expectations are getting bigger and bigger, and we continue to fall on our faces.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you are 7-2 in the last 3 years against South Carolina. You've hosted regionals in all 3 seasons so far. This is the 4th year. It's going to be the first one you don't host. But here's the text message that I sent, because I'm a huge Bakich fan. Like, he was at Michigan, built.
I'm a big Bakich fan too.
Yeah, he was at Michigan, built that like program on development, right? And he used, when he went to Clemson, he pulled about 4 or 5 Michigan guys that were on the roster as transfers, and they performed immediately. And that was kind of what helped those rosters right off the bat. And now this is to the point where it's a lot of his recruiting, like his younger talent are like now his guys, rather than guys that he may have inherited from a previous regime or came in via portal. Like, you look at successfully, Cam Canarella was a freshman when Bakich was there. So Canarella, I'm counting Purify, Blake Wright, Malstedt, Joe Allen, Lagernick, Jack Crichton, Jacob Jarrell. All of them good development examples right now. Aiden Canuck, Will Taylor, Colin Priest, Luke Gaffney, Tristan Becerra, Drew Titsworth, Talon Bell, Ethan Darden, Billy Barlow. Like, those are guys that haven't necessarily been, but you're hitting at a 50% clip, which I don't think is good enough to win a title, but I don't think it's bad enough to where you should be, all up in arms like he's doing a terrible job. To me, he's established a winning program. That's where you're at right now. You're above 500. You're one of the better teams in the ACC. You've got a little bit of a target on your back right now. And this is kind of just a retooling year, is how I view it.
Yeah, I don't think any coach ever deserves to get fired or even get heat for one bad year. It's like back-to-back years is, I think, when you're going to start seeing like real question marks and like real hot seat stuff. But I did just use the Warren Nolan predicted results on Clemson.
Oh, no.
They're in trouble, boys.
Oh, no.
Projecting 11-19 in the SEC, or 11-19 in the ACC, 31-25 overall, 44 RPI. Like, they're 2-7 right now in the ACC. So that's a lot of work you got to do just to get to that probably 13, 14 win number. They go on the road at Stanford, which we know is tricky. Like, you get a midweek against Wake Forest and Charlotte, then fly to Stanford.
A midweek against Wake.
Midweek against Wake on Wednesday. So Thursday, they're flying to Stanford for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Stanford. I doubt they sweep that. It's a tough place to sweep at. And then they get UNC midweek against Charlotte, at Virginia, midweek against Upstate, at Louisville, Boston College at home, at Coastal midweek, Florida State, Upstate, at Virginia Tech. Like, that's a pretty brutal stretch right there.
That's really tough. That's really difficult. Yeah, I think for me, Clemson is just struggling. I mean, Georgia Tech, you can't be mad you lost the series against one top 5 team in the country.
I even think Miami's a 2 seed in the tournament, too.
That's what I'm saying. I think Miami's going to be probably, I told Ben, my ceiling for them is the 2 seed. A floor is last team in, or missing the tournament, last team in area.
I would agree.
At home, you got to win that Miami series. On Notre Dame, you can't get swept. So yeah, that's the breaking point right now. Purify's hurt. I think that lineup is really missing him. Yep. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens like their best player.
Are we worried about NC State, boys? Let's pivot over to Georgia Tech sweeping NC State. And honestly, it wasn't like a thumping. Like, the Georgia Tech offense wasn't great.
There was one thumping in there, right?
Was it
today?
They
did it today.
But like,
but it was like 6 or 7-0, and then the wheels just fell off for NC State. Okay. And then last night it was the Drew Burris
6th, and then it was a 4-spot, 3-spot.
Yeah, and then last night with the Drew Burris RBI triple, and then like a walk and a Von Lackey RBI single to win that game last night. So I came away after that Florida State series saying this NC State lineup is difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
Wes Mendez and Trey Beard struggled with those lineups. They were tough at bat after tough at bat. And this weekend, if you make a Georgia Tech pitching staff look really good, that's a bad weekend. No disrespect to Georgia Tech, but that's just a traditional takeaway there.
Yeah, but 6-game losing streak for the Wolfpack. They also lost to Campbell in the midweek, lost the last two. I was like last Friday when they beat Florida State on the road. I remember thinking like, "Oof, this team's got some magic." Like they're tough to navigate. That was a good way to put it, Dimitri. And since then, just 7 or 6 straight losses. They've scored 5-5, 2-1, 4-0 in those 6
to your point, that offense has been the reason why they've lost these last couple of games. But I mean, game 1 and game 2, when your pitching staff holds Georgia Tech to honestly 6 runs or less, which they did in both games, that's all. I mean, that's one of the most powerful offenses right now going in the sport. You expect to be in the game to win those. And maybe it's just a matter of didn't get clutch hits. NC State had 5 hits in game 1. Game 2, they had 9. So, yeah, they just didn't convert with runners on base. And to me, I wouldn't say I'm worried about that result. I think against most teams, you're split in game 1, game 2, and then, hey, game 3, that was a tough one offensively and on the mound. But I wouldn't panic on NC State either. I think the pitching is too good to panic for just one cold offensive week.
Yeah,
agreed.
All right, I have a note written down here. Thoughts on UNC? Are they the most slept on team or most under the radar team in the country right now? Like, when did we as a society like give up on the Tar Heels? Because they're 24-4-1.
I'll tell you when.
And they're 7-0.
I'll tell you when. When they split with East Carolina, that Sunday game ended up in a tie, and then their first ACC weekend they get blown out first 2 games against Virginia. That's when people were like, "Oh, just another year of Carolina baseball being overrated." It happens all the time. And then
when they swept Cal, when Cal was rolling back then,
yeah,
won 2 out of 3 against Louisville, and then just swept Notre Dame on the road, and have a midweek win against South Carolina, like.
And I pointed it out on the pod 2 weeks ago when they did look really bad against Virginia. That was not a pretty weekend. Opening ACC weekend last year, they got swept at home by Stanford, who was one of the worst teams in the league. So, this team has been known to have a slow start in ACC play, and they looked very good this weekend against Notre Dame, and they weathered the storm against Jack Riddell, who has been one of the more battle-tested aces in the country so far.
Yeah. I just
Ryan Lynch and
Jason
DeCaro both pitched like shit this weekend. Shit might be a little aggressive and mean.
DeCaro goes 9 strikeouts, no walks. He pitched like shit, Ben.
But yeah, pitched like shit. I take that back. But they did. What?
Did he pitch Saturday this weekend?
Yeah,
I think he had a first inning.
Maybe I'm getting my days mixed up. Either way, they gave up 4 or 5 runs. They did not have their best stuff this weekend, and North Carolina still handled business. That tells me that this is a good team. When your starting pitching had the bad weekend and you still dominate, tells me everything I know, because those 2 starting pitchers are going to be one of the better 1-2 punchers when it's all said and done at the end of the season.
Dude, North Carolina's scheduling does not get any easier either. Like, golly. Campbell, Boston College, Charlotte, Clemson, UNCW, Georgia Tech, High Point, Duke, Coastal. Like, that's their next stretch of 15 games.
That's just baseball in the Carolinas, man. It looks like a real hotbed right now for college baseball. Mid-majors are strong in the state. And, I mean, what was it, 2 years ago, 2024, when there was 4 Carolina hosts in the regionals? Yep. So
I think hot take. I think Boston College gets smacked this weekend and gets a little bit of taste of reality again. They're playing well, but I think Carolina handled business, and because I just can't picture Boston College being in the top 3 in the ACC. I just can't picture it.
Dimitri, you got your days confused, by the way. It was not Jason DeCaro that looked like ass. It was Folger Boaz on Sunday. Saturday, Sunday, they had rough starts.
That's what it was.
How about your boy though? Like you tweeted it out, and I totally agree. One of my favorite relievers in college baseball right now is Walker McDuffie. The
I
guy's
love
a
watching him pitch.
He's a
like
stud.
He looks
What?
just
He
like
gave up two. I think he gave up 2 runs this weekend, but
Oh,
dude,
he's got the blonde hair though.
he
doesn't look
gets
like me.
the job done day in and day out. I love watching him pitch.
Oh, he's one of my favorites out of the pen right now. But I mean, for them to weather the 2 bad starts on Saturday and Sunday and still win those games comfortably is says a lot about the offense, which I think coming into the year they had a lot of mid-major up transfers. That was the offensive side of the ball was the question mark for the Tar Heels, and that was a great weekend from them.
Hey, I don't even think Gavin Gallagher is playing great baseball right now offensively.
Yeah,
Let him heat up. Let this team is going to be a really, really good team at the end. What did Gallagher hit? He's hitting 280 with 5 homers. No. Yeah, 280 with 5 homers. He's a 340 hitter, 350 hitter.
Just let him get into the postseason, then he'll hit. Woes me, like hit 4 bombs in a game and finish a regional with 6
Vance
homers.
Honeycutt stuff.
Yeah. The shout out to the pair ratings, and he's got the baseball kill shot, which is very similar to Evan Miyakawa's kill shot in basketball. He does it 2 runs in an inning. I've always considered like a big inning, 3 runs or more. Yeah. North Carolina landed 2 like uppercuts in this series. The 6th inning in game 2, they scored 6, and then they put up an 8 spot in the 5th inning in game 3. That's what did it in those 2nd and 3rd games for sure.
Yeah.
What else do we have in the ACC?
No, that's all I had on the ACC. I'm sure we're leaving stuff out, but we're running a little long. Big 12.
Wait, one more thing from the ACC. We mentioned it earlier. Florida State dominated first 2 games. Myles Bailey had a freak accident sliding into second base, just an irrelevant, unnecessary play. He ends up getting hurt, which just makes it even worse. He's out for the year. Is he a draft guy? Is he going to be back at Florida State? We don't know.
He's not a draft guy, I don't believe, right? Is he?
Yeah.
That really sucks.
So we don't know if we've seen him play his last game as a Seminole. Who knows? Big blow to the middle of that lineup, and I'm really devastated for them.
Yeah, that was brutal. I hate even thinking about it.
I think if there was one team. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
No, I was just gonna say he was one of the guys that's larger than life in college baseball, where he could make himself a household name.
Yeah, for sure. Just the way he's built and his power. Yeah, the
number 1 power hitter,
moonshots.
Number 1 power hitter in college baseball, pure power hitter with Myles Bailey.
I will say this though, and I thought this in the preseason, but it's you got Myles Bailey, but Florida State almost had too many designated hitters to me. So if there's one team that has depth at that first base position that may be able to, to wear this and be able to be okay moving forward, I think it's State, because they've got catchers galore and they've got first baseman galore and just immobile outfielders. Is how I'd put it. So I think they've got two options that they're probably mulling over right now at that first base spot. So I think they'll be okay.
All right, Big 12 time. We already touched on West Virginia, Arizona State. Really fun series. West Virginia wins the series tonight on Sunday Night Baseball. But the team that we need to talk about is a team that, after getting thumped by LSU in the second week of the year in Jacksonville, and then following that up with a series loss to South Florida, the UCF Black Knights are on a freaking
what night?
They are the Golden Knights.
Golden Knights.
They actually prefer no golden. They just want knights.
I'm sorry, Black Knights. I don't know why I said Black Knights.
You will get dragged.
Army baseball this weekend. I watched a ton of Army baseball this weekend because it was the Army Navy series.
Yeah.
And anyways, Golden Knights. I'm embarrassed. Well, anyways, they're on a roll right now. They sweep this weekend against Arizona. It was Arizona, right?
Yeah, yes. They swept Arizona this weekend, took 2 out of 3 last weekend, and then swept Oklahoma State.
Yeah. So they are sitting in first place, solo dolo in the Big 12, 8-1. And they get to go travel to Morgantown this coming up weekend, which will be in our weekend series pick 'em. But it's really like for me, this is starting pitching for UCF. Coming into the year, I was sold on Andrew Stevenson in that offense, but like didn't really do much research on the starting pitching. They've been really good the last few weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, the starting pitching was very good this weekend once again. And guys, so doing preseason handicapping, just running through who my possible favorite in the Big 12 was. Hear me out on this. UCF opened the season, and I know you mentioned the first 3 series. They opened the season with Oklahoma State. TCU is the perceived preseason favorite. They then just swept Arizona, who was a College World Series team last year. They head to West Virginia next weekend, and the 5th series, 5 straight Big 12 out the gate at Kansas.
Yeah.
I looked at that, and I was like, oh, this team's going to take it on the chin early. They could have some late gas, later on in the season. I was like, okay, I mean, we'll look to back UCF just in my head down the stretch of the year. Guys, they've done so well out the gate. They've kind of put themselves in position to be, I think, your front runner to end up winning the Big 12 regular season crown. That's how well they've been going right now. So,
well, they also like they don't get the bottom of the barrel Big 12 teams this year at all. Like they don't get Houston, they don't get BYU, they don't get Texas Tech. Like all of their games are against the top of the Big 12, like which makes it tough.
And the top of this league is good, man.
Yeah, they get them all.
When is the last time UCF hosted a regional?
Oh, I don't think ever.
Have they ever hosted one?
No shot.
Where are they at right now? They are 31 in RPI. They're within striking distance.
Well, if they win the Big 12, they should get in unless you're TCU last year.
Non-conference strength of schedule is 41st.
Yeah. With that Big 12 schedule, if you win the Big 12, you're hosting. But how much weight are we going to put into beating Oklahoma State? How much weight are we going to put into beating TCU that's banged up and injured? And the same thing for Arizona. These are preseason great teams, but currently they're not very good teams. So you could argue that these are going to be middle of the pack, maybe closer to the bottom of the Big 12 standing at the end of the year, these 3 teams that they beat. So I'm like, I want to be hype and excited for UCF, but I think these teams that they beat are just playing bad baseball and they're really injured.
Well, so
how about this from UCF, though? Last year's leadoff hitter, Diamez Ross, great kid, interviewed him last year. He was leading the nation in batting average the first half of the season. He's hitting 247, 643 OPS. They've moved him to the bottom of the order. Like, I believe that kid's going to come around, man. Like, he also gives you plus defense in center field. Like, UCF's only going to be better, I think.
Do you have their numbers in front of you?
For what? Yeah, maybe.
What's Andrew Williamson hitting?
333, 1088 OPS, 6 bombs.
He gets walked a ton, though. How many walks does he have?
He's got 11.
Oh,
yeah. No, he's a free swinger. He's a big time free swinger.
How many Ks? He's only got 19 Ks.
Doesn't mean he's not a free swinger.
That's fair. Yeah, 24 games.
I do like the coach, though.
Rich Wallis.
Yeah, Rich Wallis. He's kind of got like the same kind of story in a way, I guess, as like a Kevin Schnall. Like he played at UCF, like was born and raised in Orlando, and then takes over the head coaching job. And I think 2024 was his first year because they made a regional in his first year, and then last year they missed. But I think he's set up for a lot of success being in that school.
Last year they had expectations in the preseason. They kind of underdelivered there, but no doubt. This is a talented
recruit
team.
To that school is like probably easy. Gold mine.
Oh, Ben. Yes.
Hey, Kansas had a big time turnaround weekend.
I was going to want to mention them before we moved on too.
Yeah, the Jayhawks. They were kind of struggling a little bit there for a couple weeks. Turned it around with a big-time series win over Cincinnati on the road this weekend.
Yeah, they got Nathan Taylor done Friday and then bounced back and won game 2 and game 3 in the series.
Yeah. Ben, what else?
Those were the only notes I had about the Big 12. I do have a few about the Big 10. Obviously, we know about UCLA. What is it, 17-game winning streak?
I mean,
how many games in a row?
I'm going to mention the run differential.
18 or 19 straight. 19 straight wins.
19 straight wins for UCLA. They're the best team in the country. Just bullied Iowa around. And Iowa's like not a terrible team. Bullied them
outscored Iowa this weekend 38-6 or 38-8.
38-8. Yep. UCLA, best team in baseball, like just consistently putting up crooked numbers in the first inning. It's crazy.
Next
USC,
weekend, top 10 showdown in Los Angeles against USC.
Yeah, against USC, the top 2 teams. But there is an argument to be made that Nebraska might be better than USC. The Huskers, and we all want Nebraska to make it back to Omaha. Agreed? Like all three of us?
Yeah.
2005 was the last time they made it.
I want more people in Omaha than at the football stadium for the Bananas game on Friday, that opening weekend.
Right. But yeah, I mean, like outside of that series against Auburn, where they lost the series, but they did win Friday. Nebraska has been flawless this year. They did lose a 2-1 game Friday against Michigan.
They've won like 16 of their last 17, I think.
Yeah, 16 of the last 17. That one loss was a 2-1 loss at Michigan on Friday. The Huskers are buzzing. They got a pretty good schedule coming up. They should take care of Creighton and Penn State, but then they have Kansas midweek at Oregon, Creighton midweek, USC in Lincoln, and then at Kansas midweek. So like these next 10 games are very important to Nebraska. And like I'm not saying like hosting is still on the picture for Nebraska.
Yeah, what I would say is it's not necessarily favorable, but there are opportunities to make a little bit of noise and then boost that resume in order to try to get the host. Because last year,
they're at 23 RPI right now, which is like,
they're right there in the thick of it.
Last year in the Big Ten, you were looking at some of the top teams in the league, especially the ones that weren't on the West Coast, and they just didn't get many opportunities to be able to boost that resume. This year, they have some shots. They host USC for 3. They host Iowa for 3 coming up, and then they're at Oregon.
Listen to this. Wait, boys, listen to this. Warren Nolan predicted results. I know it's not 100% accurate, but predicts 39-16 overall, 21 RPI, 22-8 conference, and that is with them going 1-5 against Oregon and USC. Like a 21 RPI going 1-5 against Oregon.
Let me ask you this. Ben, you first. Rank the Big Ten top 4 teams. I want to hear it.
UCLA, USC, Nebraska. And I kind of want to throw a wild card in there that Oregon. But like I'm telling you, I think there's a wild card in there, and like I think
there's not. It's those 4 teams pick the order. I knew you were going to do this. You do this all the time. Oregon is the top 4 team. It goes whatever order you want. UCLA, USC, Oregon, Nebraska.
The way you phrased it is,
I kind of want to throw a wild card in there.
The way you should
who the hell is that,
Ben, is the under 500 team that's going to finish 3 games over 500 this year, because there's a lot of under 500.
I think Purdue has like a sneaky good resume with wins over Oregon State, Baylor. They almost won the series against Oregon. They lost 2 out of 3, but one of the games was a 1-run game. Won the series at Maryland, won the series against Penn State, won the series at Michigan State. Like they're not a terrible team, 18-8. But they're not. You're right. They're not up to Oregon, Nebraska, USC, and UCLA.
The team that's lying in the weeds that's going to pop up is Michigan. That was a good non-conference resume that they built. They've opened up with a tough Big Ten schedule. They're 3-6 right now. I mean, when you play at UCLA, host Nebraska, your first two weekends, you're going to take it on the chin. That's a team that's currently 500 overall, under 500 in league. That'll finish above. To answer your question, Dimitri, it goes UCLA, USC, Oregon, Nebraska for me.
That's what I'm leaning to right now. But I will say this. I'm not as high as some people are on Oregon.
Same.
I think Oregon played a cupcake preseason schedule. Their Las Vegas weekend, the only true tangible weekend where you can be like, this team is good or whatever. And
they were in a war this weekend against Barbara.
Other than their lineup just does not show up against quality pitching.
I agree.
So that concerns me.
They lost a lot of experience from that lineup last year that was loaded.
And Mattis Maloney is not doing well right now. He has not gotten off to a hot start.
That was not expected. That is true.
So I think I'm comfortable with putting Nebraska and Oregon 3A, 3B right now.
I think they all four get in the tournament.
Yeah.
That would be a disaster if one of them misses.
Yeah. Or Oregon on Saturday, they kind of let that game get away from them, but they won the series against the Gauchos there, which the Gauchos needed that. They've kind of punted their hosting case already this year.
Yeah, winning a game against Jackson, Florida, I think should count as 2 wins.
Yeah.
Really
the guy is big league ready.
Yeah. I texted the group. I was like, dude, he looks like a major leaguer. I was watching
and
the
then
game.
He gives up a run.
Yeah, he walks into 2 guys, and I'm like, shh, I shouldn't have done that. But, yeah, he's gross. Let's do a few mid-major talking points. I know we're running a little late here. UTSA against ECU was a fantastic series. UTSA comes back in the 9th, walks off East Carolina. Roadrunners are rolling.
Don't forget, UTSA was up 5-0 before East Carolina scored 5 in the 7th. So UTSA blew it, and then East Carolina blew it.
I missed all that. I joined that game late. I joined in the 9th.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, UTSA was up 5-0 in the 7th, walked the house, run scored, and then East Carolina took a 2-run lead into the bottom of the 9th. UTSA pulled it out. So,
yep. Charlotte, sticking in the AAC. Charlotte, big series win at home. Shout out to Jack. He was Vin Scully esque this weekend, solo dolo in the booth. But Charlotte takes down USF. 2 out of 3 big win for the Niners. I don't think if you're USF, you're frustrated, but you're like, whatever. We've built up a good non-conference resume. The whole season's right in front of us. They're a good team. They just caught Charlotte, or I guess Charlotte was just much more prepared and capitalized.
Like you mentioned, you gave Jack the shout out. Dimitri clipped it wiffle ball in the backyard that pickled the beast.
No, it was like Benny and the Jet pickling the beast or something like that. It was hilarious.
If you guys didn't see it, go watch the video. It's
a pickle, man.
3-base pickle.
Yeah.
By the way, they totally botched that. And my dad growing up was a baseball coach, and number one thing that he prided coaching teams on was handling the pickle. They botched that, man. Yeah. When you run them back, you got to either throw that ball to the third base, or when you run them back, you run this guy's second base back and you throw it there. You can't run them all the way back and then nobody's covering first base. Right. You totally botched that. So, but not covering first base isn't the issue. You just got to throw the ball, try to get an out. The catcher can't run the second base. So
I'm a big fan of the AAC this year. I think as of right now, I'm leaning toward the 2, maybe 3 bid league this year. I think the floor is 2 bid league this year, which is really good for the AAC to have it, because East Carolina for so many years was carrying that conference on their back as a 1 bid league. And if someone else, for example, a 15-win Tulane team punches their ticket to make it a 2 bid league, this year, I think we're going to get 2 as a floor.
There's 6 teams in the top 64 RPI right now. That's a good sign.
I think the big thing to watch out for though is hopefully this isn't this year's Southland, right? Last year the Southland had 6 teams hovering in the 40s to 60s range, but they didn't have a top 25.
Yep.
That was the ankle weight for sure a bid. Now, like a couple of these teams take a weekend off per se.
Yep.
You're not guaranteed one, but I like Dimitri bringing it up. There's 6 teams that all have a legitimate shot right now at a large, and it's something to watch moving forward.
Well, I mean, it's still cool. Like it's a 10-team league, and first place and 10th place are decided by 2 games. 4-2 all the way. Like it's 4-2, 4-2, 4-2, 3-3, 3-3, 3-3, 3-3, 3-2, and 4-2, and 4-2, and 4. Like everybody's kind of pulling their own weight.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey,
RPI
one shout out. One shout out to the Rice Owls and David Pierce. They have reached a 17-win mark at the earliest point in a season since 2016. Let me rephrase that to make it easier to understand. This is the fastest they have reached 17 wins in a season since their 2016 season. So David Pierce has turned that program around quick, and it is not an easy program to turn around.
It shows just how important like a head coach is to a program. They went out, fired Jose Cruz in the middle of the season last year. They knew who they were going to hire with David Pierce.
They wanted him.
He was an assistant at Texas State, just trying to fill the void of coaching. And he leaves midseason, packs him up, gets Rice back on a winning way to end the year. Like I think they played pretty well down the stretch. And then this offseason, they went to work, and they're sitting at 17-12 this year, 3-3 in the AAC, 63 in the RPI. Like they probably won't make the tournament this year, but expectations in what is it, University Village or something, Houston, I forget. little wherever Rice is in Houston.
They had a target in mind, and like you guys said, give them the pat on the back for locating, just first off, targeting the right guy, because this is a guy that won at Texas. He got ran out of there because he didn't meet massive expectations, right? And he was an assistant at Texas State with previous assistant coaching ties at Rice. So like he was already kind of within the family, and it was a slam dunk hire. They went out and did it mid-season, which was
I love when programs go after a guy that they want. Not the guy that's going to be splashed. We have a guy circled. We're going to go get him, and we will not swing and a miss. We're going to get him.
Yeah,
usually works out well.
That's a pretty good segue, Ben, if you want to take it to Grand Canyon.
I'm going to do one little Conference USA note because I'm still a big fan of the Conference USA. The depth, it's not what the AAC is, but the top teams in the league are up to par with the top teams in the AAC. Jacksonville State, 9-0 to start Conference USA play. They're 24-5 overall, 27 RPI. Steve Beazer, and I threw his name out there last week or 2 weeks ago. I think he's a name that you need to keep an eye out for South Carolina. He had a ton of success for University of Missouri head coach in the SEC 8 years ago, like 6 years ago. Did really well. He's the one that built up the SEMO dynasty in the OVC. He killed me my freshman year. SEMO won outscored us 38-0 that weekend. And now he's built it back up with Jacksonville State. They're a really good team. And man, he's a great ball coach. They I think they're maybe this year's maybe Murray State is a good example. A team that had no expectations entering the year, and then you turn around and you're like, oh, they're 31-8. Like, what the heck? So shout out Jacksonville State Gamecocks. But the series I want to focus on, Dallas Baptist gets back to their winning ways. They won the series against Missouri State, and it was a dogfight for both of the teams all weekend. We hyped up Missouri State a lot last week, how their only slip up was on the road at Ole Miss this year. Yeah. Other than that, they've taken care of business. But there was a 5-4 game Friday and an 8-5 game today where Dallas Baptist scores, 6 unanswered to come back and beat Missouri State. Shout out to the Patriots. They're I think they're about to go on a run here, boys. They've challenged themselves early in the year, and at Kennesaw, at Sam Houston, like they're about to rattle off 9, 10 out of the next 11.
Yeah, then they've got that Liberty series that you stopped right before. So, yeah, that'll be another tough one. Right.
Yeah.
After
Well, then
that.
they finished the year against Jacksonville State at home, so like that could be for Conference USA champion.
Could be for sure. Could be for sure. I'm just looking through, seeing if there's anything. You did a pretty good job cleaning up that series. I'm not sure there's anything else that I had.
No, we're good. We're an hour 34 in. Let's do a little bit of time on Grand Canyon because I still think, I mean, college baseball fans know what a gold mine that place is and can be.
Yeah.
We saw it with, was it the 2023 season? Jacob Wilson coming out of there. Homer Bush Jr. was another stud. They got drafted really high. And that stadium will fill up. They sold out a ton of games. Their ESPN Plus broadcast is great, except their camera is set in like a 1980s like camera tent. I don't get it, but they put on a good broadcast. There's a ton of money at that university. And I think you're going to see a lot of people interested in that job. The list of names that I have for Grand Canyon, number one, and who I think will end up getting the job, is Sean Allen, pitching coach for USC. He was pitching coach at Grand Canyon when Stankiewicz was there before he left for USC. And like everybody knows how good USC's pitching's been. Like he's ready for a head coaching job. So I think that's his if he wants it. I'm trying to pull up my list right now.
Do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think
too.
USC being off to such a hot start, their pitching staff is incredible? Do you think Grand Canyon was like, "Oh, this guy, we can have him in here tomorrow if we want to"? Do you think that's part of why they were just like, "We're gonna"?
I don't think he would come tomorrow. But
no, I'm not saying he's gonna come after the season. But what I'm saying is, Grand Canyon is like, we're gonna announce the firing now, with that in mind, knowing we have a guy available that we can get.
Maybe
that before some other big school starts interviewing him. That makes sense.
Yeah.
They want first access to him.
Yeah. No, that does make a little bit of sense, but who knows? Like there could have been a reason why Gregg Wallis was let go, like outside of results, like off the field stuff happens. I don't know. Like it could have been just like time to move on. Now their interim coach, Nathan Bannister, remember him at Arizona pitching in the College World Series against Coastal?
Yep.
He's a great coach too now. Like he's a little bit younger guy. He's around our age, Dimitri. He's the interim guy. He was the pitching coach, but a hell of a college career. He was a stud in college, and he's been at Grand Canyon for a few years now. We got to talk to him at ABCA last year at the bar in the hotel. Remember that? Yeah, he's a good dude. Some other names I would look at: Jack Wilson, Jacob Wilson's dad. He's managing pro ball right now, but like maybe that was I think he's like single A or double A or something. But Jack Wilson was a great major league shortstop. He was on the coaching staff when Jacob Wilson was at Grand Canyon. I think he's somebody that like I could see them doing a midseason firing just to get him in, kind of like a David Pierce style. Like, hey, let's see what he's got. I wrote down whoever Cal Baptist head coach is, because Cal Baptist I don't know who their head coach is. I probably should because they're synergy clients of mine. But I talked to all the assistants. I don't know the head coach's name, but what he's done at Baptist is unbelievable.
So Cal Baptist is Gary Adcock. He's been there for 22 years.
Yeah, he was there winning like D2 national championships for Cal Baptist and like stuck it through the transition period and everything. I mean, maybe not because he's been there for so long. Like he might just want to retire there, but I need to learn more about Coach Adcock because Cal Baptist is an electric team this year. Very, very underrated. The other two names I have on the list, Will Davis from Lamar. I think he's a very good coach. And I don't know if that's like a spot for him, but I know he's highly respected. He puts up results at Lamar. And I don't know. I could just see him making the jump there before going to a Power 4 school. And then one for fun that I think everybody in college baseball should be rooting for, but Roland Fanning at Austin Peay. He fits the Grand Canyon vibe. Like I could see him shirtless in the basketball arena, jumping around and just embracing the whole Grand Canyon culture.
That would be an interesting hire. But I think he needs to do more at Austin Peay before someone gives him a shot like that.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
you know what I mean? Like he built the hype, he built the attention. Everyone knows he is. Now he just needs to win. He needs to win an ASUN title in the tournament. He needs to make an at-large bid. He needs to do something more. But he's close.
Yeah. So I guess I didn't ever send my list, and I was working on it in a text, and it never got through, I guess. So I remember 4 of my names, and then I had a JUCO coach in the state of Arizona that has had extreme success that could get the call. But again, just like Ben, pure speculation. Like we're just doing this because we think these guys have done a really good job. We have no knowledge that they would leap to take this job, but guys that I think should be in consideration. Brock Ungricht at San Diego has done a tremendous job with the Toreros so far. I mean, going from USD to Grand Canyon, it's just a bigger fan base, more resources, I think, with the Lokes.
I disagree, dude. San Diego is the Toreros are a baseball school.
They have plenty of resources and plenty of money.
Yeah.
I think it's the fan base, though, that, it may get across because I think the fan base is.
I think, dude, I'm telling you, winning cures a lot. And San Diego shows up when they're winning.
Yeah. I think that's a backwards jump for him, to be honest. Like, he's living.
But hey, Noah, no. But Noah, you're not wrong. There's no wrong answers here. So, Brock Ungricht won.
No.
I disagree because I think
and I texted you guys this because he was the first name that I sent. I was like, I don't even know if he'll take this job, but I wanted to mention it for the show, and he was at the top of the list.
You didn't text us.
I definitely sent you the top 2 names here because the other one's Eric Newman from UC San Diego. Came up with the Tritons from D2 to D1 there with them, and he's done a great job. Their pitching staff has consistently been very good, and we've talked about this a lot on this pod. Like if Anthony Ionson's on that team last year, that's a team that could do damage in the NCAA tournament because they had a lot of production coming back. But yeah, go back to I think it was Saturday night. I sent those 2 names. Now I was working on another text that had 3 more names. The first one was Sean Allen, like you mentioned, the USC assistant there, who's a former assistant at Grand Canyon. Second one's Larry Mahoney, currently working at Hope International as their head coach. And he's taken this team from being a contender year in and year out in Southern California in the NAIA level to all of a sudden now they're a national power. And they're winning national titles at the NAIA level. Larry Mahoney's really elevated the ceiling of that program. He's done a really good job in 6 or 7 years that he's been there with the Royals. The third one on that list was, a JUCO coach in Arizona. It's a really good JUCO baseball state. I can't remember who I had there. And then the last note that I was going to say, out of left field, I think we could see somebody from the development range of spring training or MLB local development sites, somebody that's interested in this job and may get an interview, knock it out of the park with an interview and land it. Somebody who's not necessarily on the college baseball radar, only because you've got 14, 15, 16 MLB, spring training sites there. So they're Arizona based. They have connections with, I'm sure, plenty of people down there. So I would not be surprised if that is an area that we're not as well versed and somebody comes out of that area and takes the head coaching job.
I do like that take, Noah. It would not surprise me to see them experiment in the player development.
Same thing happened with Bloomquist, right?
Yeah, he was an alum though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's probably a Grand Canyon alum coaching MLB.
Yeah, but
some organization.
I have a dark fantasy.
A A dark.
A very dark fantasy.
Oh gosh.
That old Paw goes and retires in Arizona.
Oh my God! Stop it! Stop it! Pawpaw's gone. He's gone forever.
And that was the first time on this podcast that I don't think Pawpaw got a laugh. That was just a terrible use.
No, because that was just such a bad take. He ruined it.
Terrible
he
use
put
of the Pawpaw
stain on
card,
Pawpaw's
man.
name. You just put a stain on his name.
Dark fantasy. It was not supposed to be funny.
I'm kind of concerned that you're fantasizing about Pawpaw, though.
You guys wouldn't be excited to see Pawpaw come out and go to Grand Canyon?
No, I would probably break my TV.
That would be
tweet
Tony
about
La Russa going to coach the White Sox in 2020. Oh wait, that happened.
Yeah, it'd be worse than Mr. 3000 coming out of retirement.
Great movie, T-Rex Pennebaker.
Yep. Hey, SunBelt, real quick. Is it Coastal's conference?
31 straight conference wins. That's unbelievable.
That's very impressive.
I don't know if that
extremely impressive.
We won't get broken in our lifetimes. To win 31 straight SunBelt games, no shot.
Won't ever happen again.
It's crazy, dude.
And it's still going too.
And they're still down their top 4 arms.
Yeah.
This is I think this is the national seed team when we get to June. I mean, dude, this is going to end up being a top-based team again. They're going to be hosting a regional, but they might get their own home super.
They're a factory, dude.
And the more that this team wins, the more I Schnall ain't leaving.
No,
I think about it every day. I'm like, dude, the more this team wins, the less chance of him leaving.
I mean, he sniffed it. He sniffed the national title last year. Why would you need to leave? You already have it. Enough resources, enough fan base, backing they're loyal enough. You have everything you need to win and win big. Why leave?
I don't think he's leaving. I think it's a lose-lose situation to take that South Carolina job. But
I agree.
Besides Coastal, Southern Miss, they're just going through the motions right now, and I think it's totally fine. They're not as elite as some of the other teams in the country, but they're still really good, and I think they're getting the kinks out, if you will. And they'll be just fine. I think Southern Miss fans are getting mad.
If this is the coldest Southern Miss gets this year, they're in a great place. Because
the
hot, cold, hot theory, they started the year red hot. Cooling off now.
Hot, cold, hot.
If this is the floor, then Southern Miss is going to Omaha. Because they're still
Louisiana. Getting swept, getting your shit pumped by Texas State a week ago, and then drop the first 2 to Louisiana Monroe.
Shout out Ford Pemberton. Interviewed him in the off season.
Pemberton.
He's a great guy.
Yeah,
he replaced Federico at Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
And then Arkansas State haven't looked great since a Southern Miss series win. They have not looked great. They got the series win against James Madison, but they struggled this weekend. They eked out the win today. So, I think the SunBelt, if Texas State continues to win and do well, I think they'll hold it up. But the SunBelt looks kind of down this year compared to years past. Is that a bad take?
Or it's up, and every team's just gotten better.
I think the top has established big-time separation on the rest of the league. That was my take going into the year, and I still hold it. I think your top to middle to even bottom is stronger in the Big West. I think it's a more competitive league, but the national title contenders, I think your top 2 in the SunBelt are very, very good.
Would you say the SunBelt and the AAC are very comparable right now?
No, I would say the AAC is slightly better and deeper at the top, but they don't have a national title contender.
UTSA did smack Coastal in a one single game, but I think in a series Coastal wins the series. But
that was also Coastal, I think, when they were
trying to figure things out.
Yeah. That was mid, losing fluky. They were expecting to have him on that Friday and that weekend, and then just kind of trying to piece it together.
Ben, anything else on your checklist from the weekend?
No, just we can release the 6 weekend series, Pick'em series.
Yeah. The topic that I teased at the top of the show, when we brought up the Boston College closer from Venezuela, we'll push that to the midweek show because That's
Perfect.
a larger, broader scale topic that we could open it up for 20 minutes.
Let's
and
do that
it'll
on
be
Wednesday.
relevant in the midweek. So
Perfect.
And then the 6th series, Ben.
Dimitri has them, right?
Yeah. So the 6th series we're gonna do this weekend, and I'm gonna have them out in the next 30 minutes.
Begins on Thursday.
Yeah, because they're starting on Thursday, I'm gonna get them out. And as soon as the show ends, I will have them out. So you got a ample amount of time to get your picks in. The granddaddy of them all, gentlemen, Los Angeles, California, Westwood to be specific, the USC Trojans at UCLA. The series we've been waiting for since USC started that run. We're like, oh shit, this team is good. We're gonna get Mason Edwards versus Logan Redmond Thursday night or Friday. That series is Friday.
Night, yeah.
Friday.
Spectacular. And you know what's even awesome? More awesome? We're gonna get that series staggered on Sunday. All the attention will be on USC, UCLA on Sunday because most series will be done. UCF at West Virginia, Georgia at Mississippi State, Arkansas at Auburn. 2 teams getting swept. 2 really good teams coming off a sweep that are going to really need to get back on the right track. Santa Barbara at Cal Poly. This was a series that was circled on our calendar 3 months ago. It has lost the star power a little bit. Santa Barbara needs to rebound. Cal Poly is running away with the Big West right now. And then Florida State of Virginia. I think this is the Virginia team coming off a disappointing weekend and a Florida State team coming off a big injury. Kind of a shocking development on that team. Probably one of the heart of that lineup. That's the best way I can describe Myles Bailey. Yeah. So those are the 6 series. And then as far as midweeks go, we can give you guys a little quick overlook of what that'll look like.
Campbell at UNC. I think Little Rock at Ole Miss. Like, that's a spot. It's a noon game. I don't know if it's Kids Day, but Ole Miss feels like they midweek Kids Day, 12 p.m.
That's a 9 a.m. game for me, dude. Ain't no way I'll be watching that one.
Yeah, but Little Rock, look out for that upset. Austin Peay at Tennessee, Liberty at NC State, Auburn at Georgia Tech. That's a redemption.
In Atlanta this time.
Yeah. I mean, redemption for Georgia Tech. I misspoke. Coastal Carolina at the Citadel. I know Jack's broadcasting that. They asked if I wanted to broadcast it too. I just can't make it up to Charleston. Alabama at Jacksonville State. That's a big one. Big one for Jacksonville State.
Gentlemen, there is a massive one that Texas State goes to Texas. We all know what happens in Austin when the Bobcats are in town. Arkansas State and Missouri State.
Arkansas State, Missouri State, West Virginia at Arizona, UC Santa Barbara at USC. Pretty loaded midweek slate, especially for a Thursday short week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday for a lot of these teams.
Yeah. One thing on that USC UCLA that I think could be relevant right now, if anybody from Fox TV directors or executives that are listening to it, highly doubt it, but if there's anybody that could maybe pull some strings, that Sunday night, if you want to move the USC UCLA game to like 7:30, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, for a nice matinee on Sunday, that would be fantastic.
So that is actually currently scheduled for 4 p.m.
Your time, so 7 p.m. East?
No, 4 p.m. East Coast time.
Okay.
So 1 p.m.
Yeah, so they got to move it back a little bit. Have it Sunday night on Easter.
No travel curfew with those schools.
Yeah. That would be perfect.
Yep. All right. That's all she wrote.
I think that's a show, man. By the way, shout out Home Field Apparel. We will do that in the midweek for the 6-0 people the last couple of weeks.
I'm taking care of that this week.
Yep, the midweek we'll do the spin the wheel thing on the show.
Heck yeah. All right, everybody, we love you guys. We'll be back Wednesday night, and we'll see you then.